a quiet suburb, a digital chat room, and a man who believed he was answering a higher call. From behind an ordinary door in California, a terror link emerges, funded by micropayments, fueled by encrypted pledges, and inspired by the darkest corners of the internet. This is not a battlefield abroad. This is the new face of ISIS, and it's already here. Federal authorities in Long Beach, California, have charged 28-year-old Mark Lorenzo Villanueva, a lawful permanent US resident originally from the Philippines, with attempting to provide material support to the Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, or ISIS, a designated foreign terrorist organization. According to court documents, the investigation into Villanueva began after he became active in online forums and messaging groups associated with extremist ideology. Federal investigators say he used encrypted social media platforms to connect with two individuals who identified themselves as ISIS fighters. Over time, these digital exchanges evolved into what prosecutors describe as a relationship marked by radical commitment. In one alarming message, Villanueva allegedly wrote,
"It's an honor to fight and die for our faith. It's the best way to go to heaven. Someday soon I'll be joining."
Over a 5-month period, Villanueva sent 12 Western Union payments totaling $1,615. The money was routed through 2 intermediaries, ostensibly for ISIS operations abroad. While the individual transactions were relatively modest, prosecutors emphasized their significance. FBI Acting Assistant Director Patrick Grandy said,
Mr. Villanueva is alleged to have financially supported and pledged his allegiance to a terror group that targets the United States and our interests around the world. Thanks to the proactive efforts by the Joint Terrorism Task Force, the FBI and our partners safely arrested Mr. Villanueva today and prevented further support and spreading of ISIS ideology.
The investigation reached a critical point when the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force raided Villanueva's residence. Inside his Long Beach home, federal agents discovered what appeared to be an improvised explosive device in his bedroom. Villanueva now faces up to 20 years in federal prison if convicted, a reflection of how seriously US law treats acts of alleged terrorism. Villanueva's arrest is just the latest in a string of ISIS-linked cases across the United States in 2025, signaling a resurgence of radical activity largely driven by online propaganda. US law enforcement is now confronting a hybrid threat, where individuals, often with no direct foreign ties, become self-radicalized and operational entirely within domestic borders. Earlier this year in Michigan, a naturalized US citizen and former Army National Guard member was arrested for allegedly planning a mass shooting at a military base. Authorities say he had been radicalized through digital ISIS channels and was stockpiling bomb-making materials in preparation for an imminent attack. In March, Gafar Abdul-Jamilovich Aliyev of Edison, New Jersey, was indicted for concealing ISIS affiliations during his citizenship application process. According to prosecutors, Aliyev was active in extremist forums between 2018 and 2020, funneled funds to ISIS, and encouraged others to do the same. He now faces federal charges of perjury and making false statements. February saw another major arrest. US citizen Harifa Hussein Abdi was charged with providing material support to ISIS. Prosecutors allege Abdi traveled to Somalia in 2015 to join ISIS fighters and later issued threats against New York City. But the growing list of suspects isn't limited to American nationals. In 2025 alone, over 150 migrants and 8 Tajik nationals have been detained over alleged ISIS ties or involvement in planned attacks. Officials say many of these suspects acted alone or in tight-knit cells, often under the radar of traditional intelligence frameworks. A common thread runs through these cases: low-tech methods, targeted threats to infrastructure, and a fast escalation from digital radicalization to real-world violence. These individuals are often influenced through encrypted chat groups, extremist content on social media, and online forums that double as recruitment and operational channels. Experts warn that ISIS's ability to exploit digital platforms has significantly outpaced counter-terrorism efforts. Though the group's physical footprint has diminished in the Middle East, its virtual presence continues to expand, turning suburban residents into ideologically driven threats. What sets the modern wave of ISIS-linked plots apart is their digital subtlety and financial stealth. While traditional terror networks relied on coordinated logistics and large-scale funding, today's radicalized actors exploit the anonymity of technology, creating new blind spots for intelligence and law enforcement. Many of these extremists operate solo, using encrypted apps, digital wallets, and peer-to-peer platforms to plan, communicate, and fund operations. Microtransactions, each too small to draw immediate scrutiny, are collectively sustaining an expanding web of covert activity. The US Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network has issued multiple advisories in 2025, flagging how crowdfunding platforms, cryptocurrencies, and online fundraising are being repurposed to finance terrorism. These tools allow sympathizers around the world to contribute discreetly, often without understanding the full extent of their involvement. In one recent case, a Virginia man was convicted in December 2024 for transferring more than $185,000 in cryptocurrency to ISIS affiliates. The money was reportedly used to support fighters and facilitate prison breaks in Syria. While this amount far exceeds the $1,615 linked to Villanueva, the mechanics of both operations are similar, emphasizing how digital tools enable small contributions to build significant threat potential. As a result, financial institutions are being trained to identify red flags, repeated micropayments, unusual transfers to high-risk countries, and the use of anonymizing services. These indicators are now central to tracking the digital footprint of suspected terror operatives.
This case demonstrates how a person living in a peaceful American suburb can become a cog in a global terror machine. It highlights the importance of public awareness, technological monitoring, and international cooperation.
US officials stress that while ISIS may no longer control territory, its ideological momentum remains strong, largely through digital dissemination. Videos, encrypted forums, and private groups offer ideological reinforcement and operational guidance, often out of reach of traditional surveillance. As a response, federal agencies are scaling up financial surveillance, expanding interagency intelligence sharing, and deploying advanced AI tools to monitor extremist online ecosystems. There's also a push for tighter regulation of cryptocurrency platforms and enhanced scrutiny of digital fundraising activities.